Trump is gaining some ground with female voters. Currently, though, trails Harris by 12 percentage points, according to a new Quinnipiac University poll. The same survey conducted in August showed Trump 21 points behind Harris. Joining me now, Dustin Olson, a pollster for American Pulse Research and Polling, and also the host of the Political Trade Secrets podcast. Good morning to you. As always, Dustin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thank you, Marni.
Thank you. All right. So female voters, Trump says, I'll be a protector. Talk about the gender divide. Peel away some of the layers of this political onion.
So traditionally, the gender gap has been around and talked about since the early 80s. And one of the reasons why Geraldine Ferraro was even picked in the Mondale campaign. So this has been something that's been around for a while. What it typically is talked about is Republicans not having a lot of support with, or as much support with, women. What's different this year is that well before Kamala Harris was even the nominee, back when Biden was the nominee. Actually, there's some polls early this year that started showing that, in particular, the support for Donald Trump, or really more the erosion of support for Biden with minorities, was largely with male voters, male African-American voters or Hispanic voters were male. So that's really where it's happened. And it seems to be policy-based and not really candidate-based. And at this point, we just came out with a poll today for Pennsylvania. And one of the things that I noticed in that is that Trump is leading by about 18 points with men, and Kamala Harris is leading about 14.5 points with women. That is very pronounced in both directions, which is unusual. Normally, it's just Republicans not doing well with women.
So that's Pennsylvania. Are you noticing any other trends in the other swing states when it comes to men and women and where their allegiance falls?
Yeah, so it's going to be basically roughly about the same across the country and across each of the states. Some places it might be a little bit more evenly split, but what I thought was interesting in Pennsylvania in particular, that the gender gap actually benefits Trump. Now, one thing that we as pollsters do consider is that when we look at our polls, when we weight our polls, we generally will include more women in the sample. So typically it's about 52%. It depends on the geography, but usually about 52% we expect to be women. So that actually accounts for why it's so close. When you think about Donald Trump has a bigger advantage with men, and Kamala Harris has not as big of an advantage with women, but why are they so close? And I think it's because ultimately we as pollsters expect that there'll be more female voters.
When you talk about some of the big issues, so the economy is one for men and women, abortion is another. Are women looking for more clarity from Donald Trump on abortion? And what do some of the polls bleed out?
Yeah, so when we test these and other pollsters test the top issues, it's been pretty clear. In every state, it's a little bit different, but ultimately the first two are almost always the same, and those are going to be economy and inflation or immigration and the border. And then it depends. Sometimes it's democracy or abortion will be the third and fourth issue. It goes back and forth between those. And it is very much different based on your gender as to who you support on those various issues. And, Donald Trump, on most of the big issues that we test on, who would handle better, he has a pretty good lead on those: economy, immigration, border, as well as a little bit of an advantage on foreign policy. However, the advantage that Harris has on abortion is more pronounced than any of the advantages that Trump has on any of the other issues that people are listing as their top issues.
The other demographic we were just talking about with Alina was black voters, particularly black men, and some of Harris's initiatives to target this group. What do the polls show in this demographic?
But it depends on the poll. It really depends on how well the poll has done with making sure that they have enough African Americans in the survey, and that they have African Americans who are also going to be all different demographics within that cohort, which, very often you see a lot of these polls are online panels, 100% conducted online. And oftentimes you're going to get people who have postgraduate degrees and have college degrees. And that's going to miss, just like we talk about white working class, black working class as well. So some of the polls don't actually capture that. But what I've been seeing is somewhere from the low teens to low 20s that Donald Trump possibly could get of the African American vote. And that would be pretty significant. I think everybody sees that. And it is largely African American men that are the ones who are making that transition.
Yeah, diving into those numbers. Appreciate you helping us. Dustin, Olson, as always, nice to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you.